So we've got your book, Superpowered Revenge Christmas, available on Comicsfix.
There's the proof right there.
Beautiful.
Proof.
Very nice. So yeah, can you tell us a little bit about it? The backstory on it. It's about Christmas characters we know, but kind of in a different way.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a meta frame around it, where a comic book writer is disgruntled and goes into this dive bar on Christmas Eve, and he basically has an argument with his girlfriend who follows him there, who's the artist for the book, about this failed attempt he did at rebooting Christmas with superheroes, with comic book characters, using the pop culture Christmas characters we already know and love. So to kind of prove his point, he tells the story to the people in the bar, and so that we switch from that to the story that he's telling, which starts with a retconned version of Santa Claus. I'm going to use the word retcon a lot. I'm assuming everybody in comics knows exactly what that means.
So,
it's such a useful, because I'm sort of making fun of it and embracing it at the same time in this book. And there's a retcon version of Santa Claus called the Red Avenger, who looks like a younger, buffer Santa Claus, sort of. And he's now a visitor from another planet who's come. His planet has been wiped out by this interplanetary evil conspiracy. And he's come to Earth to sort of chill out, not to chill out, to sort of like hide out, I should say, and to discover the potential for a good or bad thing, kind of like the light and dark side of the Force, if I might just cop another franchise's idea. So there's the potential for something really good happening and bad happening. The elders of his planet knew that, and they sent him here to sort of fix that. Right. And little by little, he runs into some allies and some enemies. And one of the first enemies who becomes an ally he runs into is this mutated man-beast called Caribou, who is a retconned, there I go again, a retconned version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He is a victim of an experiment gone awry, and he's very much in the Hulk, and he's some smash up of Hulk and the Thing and Wolverine to some degree. That he's kind of rough and tumble guy who smokes cigars, but he looks like a humanoid caribou. And when he gets really mad, he glows red from the middle of his face as he keeps saying from the middle of my face outward, avoiding the term nose. And from there they meet Frostina, who is a real heavily retconned take on Frosty the Snowman. And we make a point in the book of them explaining how it became that far away from the source material. But she's basically a scantily clad snow goddess in this one. It was made of ice and snow and can project it and all that. And then we run into this nice young couple who are basically George and Mary Bailey from It's a Wonderful Life, who are now super psychics. And then we meet the villains, who are versions of Scrooge and Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life, who is sort of, I keep pointing out, a wannabe Scrooge. And let's see, Hans Gruber from Die Hard. And then they meet their interplanetary conspiracy partners, who is a huge hulking monstrous version of the Grinch. And just for a slightly higher culture thing, the Rat King from the Nutcracker, who is now a huge seven-headed monster. Which actually has some basis in the story, as I pretentiously love to point out. That in the early versions of the story the Nutcracker is based on, it was a seven-headed mouse or rat. So I jumped all over that. I love that.
Scare the field trips now.
Yes, I think so. Now they're kind of cute little things with, drum majorette costumes on.
Exactly.
And the Grinch and the mouse, as I call them, Rat Kong, are gigantic. They're 20 feet plus.
So this story, instead of just kind of telling it straightforward, you framed it kind of around this couple of comic creators and kind of them explaining how the story got made and the process of it. So can you kind of just elaborate on why you chose to tell it that way? Because it's really cool. You kind of explain the creation of a comic book and what goes into it.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for that. I didn't intend anything so ambitious as that, because I wouldn't presume to know. But what it might just be my my experience with Mystery Science Theater and RiffTrax, that I like to comment on things as it goes, and these characters are there for that. They can interrupt the action at any minute and insert something or change something.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to introduce the idea of retcon, since it's really kind of the whole basis of the book and the humor of it, and how sometimes it really works and sometimes it just kind of falls flat. And there are times in the book where this creator actually does fall flat, and he is busted on it by the people around him. So yeah, maybe those two impulses. And I also kind of wanted to talk about storytelling in general a little bit, since I've been doing it my whole life. Just what the importance of it, and the tension between grittiness and sentimentality when it comes to the stories that I love. I don't like things to be sentimental necessarily, but I like them to have heart. But I also like them to go to the edge sometime, and always playing with those values and what I like and what I write. So it's a little bit of a meditation on that too. Very meditation cool. Might sound a little pretentious, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And can you talk a little bit about your collaborator, Len Peralta? He does amazing art on this book, and just kind of that process of... He
does. Len Peralta, I had known him for a few years. He's not, he hasn't written a lot of comic books per se, but he's an illustrator. He did a series called Geek a Week, which were basically trading cards with the top geek people in the world, and it got very popular. He worked with musician Jonathan Colton, who's a friend of mine, originally, and that's how I got to know him. And he's an artist based in Cleveland. What I love about him is not only does he work fast, kind of scarily fast at times, but he's a fantastic artist, obviously. I mean, just formally, but he has a real sense of humor. Like, he can take something and make it even funnier. Nice. And I just loved what he would do. I liked that he was elastic in the way that he treated the characters. Like, Caribou can look really frightening and towering at times, and other times he looks like, this kind of cuddly teddy bear, and more of a cartoon character. And I like that. It seems it's borrowed a little bit from Japanese and Asian style, where characters almost become different styles in the same book, which I really like. And he also is just brilliant in the way that he kind of got what I was doing. Yeah. Nice. Very cool. And what do you think about having your graphic novel on Comicsfix? I love it. It's such a great idea. I mean, it's like a Netflix for comics. It looks great. I am now a member and a convert to Comicsfix myself, and I avail myself of all the cool stuff that comes my way. So, very cool. Yeah, there's so much, obviously, just being added all the time. It's great. Yeah, thank you very much for saying so. Sure. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's so cool to read it on Comicsfix. It looks beautiful, too, guys. Thank you. Yeah. Well done. Thank you very much. We were actually hoping that maybe you could do, like people read The Night Before Christmas. Maybe you could do a little reading of Superpower Revenge Christmas for us on the app.